All right, what's up, boys? Okay, we're gonna try to get through this. This is going to be difficult. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to rank all 70 major region players at Worlds. And the best way that I've came up with to do this is that we rank every player in their role 1 to 14, and then we just delete the names from here and we put them in the overall. So we'll just look at like the bottom 5 players and be like, who is the worst out of these 5 players? And we do it like that. There's a couple ways to start this. I was thinking about starting with top lane, but I feel like support will be easiest to do. We have all the players here. I have on my second monitor, boom, all the rosters of all the players, plus, and then I'll have 100 Thieves and Mad Lions just in my head. They should be pretty easy to rank. Okay, so let's start with support. I think Ayla is the worst player at Worlds. I've already said that I think that he's probably the worst player at Worlds. So we'll just put him there to start. I think the second worst player, and this is assuming like they might end up playing with Kellen, but assuming that they play with Moham, I have Moham, also poor player. After that, let's go Alvaro. I might move them around a little bit. So we'll start here. I have On, then Delight. Then I would have Lehens, and I would probably go Mako. I think Mickey X is pretty good. So this is where it kind of gets hard. Okay, so let's start going from the bottom again. That's the top. So who do we have left? So we have Hong, Crisp, Jun, Core JJ, Mickey X, and one more, Busio. I mean, it's got to be Busio here, no? It's got to be Busio for me. And now we have all the other ones. Okay, so Hong, I probably rate the lowest out of everyone left. Then I would have Jun. I think Jun is actually mega overrated. Maybe I could move Jun down. From here. Then I would have Crisp, and then this would be Core JJ. Okay, who do we have left? We have Core JJ, Carria, and Mickey. I do actually think Mickey is the best out of them. It's so hard to rate a player like Carria, though. Because if we look Carria Games of Legends, okay, let's go Carria Games of Legends. If you go to Carria's Games of Legends, it's like he's really good on random picks. Like he's really good on random picks generally. Like his Poppy was really good. Even in this game, his Poppy was really good. His Bard is very good. His Braum is whatever. His Alistar is whatever. His Leona is just whatever. Like pretty much if you have him on meta champs, he's like a mediocre support, I would say. Like just a middling support. Like for example, if there needs to be a Leona game played, I would rather have Crisp play a Leona game over a player like Carria. But the strength of Carria is that he has such a big champion pool. Like if there's a very good angle to pull out something like a Caitlyn Lux, he'll be good at that. If there's angles to play Senna plus whatever support, I mean, obviously Senna has been changed a bit. Some people were trying it as AD. It didn't really work out. But if there was like Senna lanes with tank supports, he was very good at that. He was always really good at like Nico, Callista. He's been good at Bard for the longest time. Poppy, like all this type of thing. All these picks are very good for him. But on like an average level, I think I would rather have, like, it's weird, right? Because if I were to think about what I believe, like I do think Carria is probably the support after this. Like I do probably think it would be something like this. Mickey X. I mean, this actually looks, that looks pretty good to me, to be honest. It's just hard to know what Mickey X shows up because he was very good at a few internationals and he's been kind of weak at a couple of them. Like for example, last year I didn't think his Worlds was that good, but his MSI was extremely good this year. It's very hard to know who's showing up. I think this probably looks right, though. I would say Carria just gets the edge over Mickey. All right, 80 carries. Oh, man, 80 carries. Okay, so who's the worst 80 carry going into Worlds? I think it is just Tomo. And then I would have Super. And now where do we go from here? All right, so there's Viper. I think Viper is probably the best going into Worlds. Viper, Elk, where do we go from here? Viper and Elk. Then we have a couple names that could pop up. We have Hayes, Jackie Love, Guma, Aiming. It's very hard to rate these players because I do think Aiming is extremely good when Domwon plays through him and when he's playing carry, like real carry 80 carries. And what I mean by that is like the champions like Zeri, Ezreal, Kai'Sa, these types of picks are extremely good for Aiming. But when we're talking about like what the meta is right now, if you have a guy who needs to be able to play like Ziggs, MF, Ashe, I just rate him a lot lower. But I assume that the meta will probably stay the same. Jin, I don't think Jin is a very good aiming pick as well. Oh, you know who I have here, actually? You know who deserves this spot right here? I think Light has been extremely good, bro. Light has been so insane. People underrate Light a ton. I think you can, I mean, Light over Elk would make sense. I do think that Elk has some advantages over Light. Like, I think that Elk, if you need to, the fact that they can always pull out the Kalista Renata, for example, that is something that gives BLG a lot of power because you can't pick anything that's kind of weak against them, you can't early pick a lot of supports because you always feel like the Kalista Renata can come out, and Kalista Renata is something that they play extremely well. I think that this is something that Elk has the advantage of. I think that he's like better on things like Kai'Sa, for example, but I think Light is extremely good at the like Ashe, Jhin, Varus, MF style of AD carry. So Light could potentially be higher, but I could see this being good as well. Now, who do we have in the next tier? So we have Paze, we have Guma, Jackie Love. Is there anyone else that can go in that conversation? Like, do I think that Aiming, Gala are better than any of those? Let's see, Aiming's. Let me try to refresh my memory on the games that Aiming played in Gauntlet. Good, and he played 4 games of Ziggs versus T1, and he finished it off with the MF game, which was actually pretty good by him. The Seraphine game was pretty good. I remember that one versus Genji. They ended up losing though. That was the one where they had like hyperscaling draft and they somehow lost the game in 28 minutes. Ziggs, Jhin. Man, let's try to remember some of these games. I don't feel like this is a good meta for Aiming. I really don't. I mean, he did play this Ezreal game, which is one of his main picks. I mean, I do think he probably goes over Guma. What about Jackie Love? Jackie Love was very hard to rate. I feel like Jackie Love did fall off a little bit towards the end. Like this game that he played where he just died a million times, bro. 10 death 80 carry in this game. I remember this one. This was the one where Knight just completely giga smurfed. Knight just went off at the last dragon fight. Very hard. It's very difficult. Let's start from the bottom. Let's start from the bottom here. I think that would be easier. So who do we have that's going to be towards the bottom of this? Like Noah, I think just goes here. No, I don't think there's anything else you can say. Noah. Then we have Hansama and Yeon. I feel like Hans was playing better than Yeon at the end. Then there's Masu as well. I mean, Masu played better than Yeon in finals, but I think Yeon overall is a better player. I think it's only fair to have Masu here. It's probably Masu, Yeon, then Hans. I don't think I can put Hans over any of the Asian AD carries. Like, the Asian AD carries are just too good. Out of everyone here, I think the next one is probably Gala. Like, Gala was not super impressive this split. Hasn't been one of Gala's best splits, for sure. So now we have the same problem. We have the same problem that we had before. Guess we're going to have to try to solve it, which is the Aiming, Paze, Jackie Love, Guma problem. Aiming, Paze, Guma, Jackie Love. I do think Jackie Love wasn't the best, but can I rate him lower than Guma? It's very hard, bro. Aiming clears Jackie, Paze, Guma. No, I don't really think so, bro. Like, I feel like Aiming was fine in regular season. Like, he was really good in regular season, and then in playoffs, he played, I would say, worse than Paze. I think Paze looked really solid when they played against each other. I mean, obviously Paze was just playing Ziggs every game, but it still was like, it did feel like Paze is just better than Aiming. Oh, this is hard. This is going to be a long stream, bro. This is going to be a tough one. Chovy. We'll start filling in some of the other ones. Probably go back to this in a second. Zika, Fresco. I mean, it's very hard to see. I think it has to be Paze here, to be honest. I think it's very hard for me to put like Guma Aiming over Paze, especially in the meta. I feel like they were not playing as well. And what we're gonna see, I think I'm putting Paze there. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. I think Aiming is generally overrated by the community. I think that his regular season inflated how he played, and then like when he would make major mistakes later on, he would just get a pass. Now, where do we go from Frescowy? We have Humanoid, Quid. Who's going to be in this conversation? Humanoid, Quid, Quad, APA. I mean, Faker is probably the worst out of all the Asian mid laners, right? I don't think that there's anything you can say about that. Like, what would be the argument for Faker over any of the other Asian mid laners? Just that he's Faker? I mean, I rate Humanoid pretty low, guys. I rate Humanoid pretty low. Like, if I think about who I would rather have on my team, like, who's a better mid laner, I feel like Quid just played better than Humanoid did a lot of the time. Wasn't there just some games where Humanoid played like absolute ass? Like, there's so many games where I'll watch Humanoid and everything will be looking good, and then he'll like disrespect the player so hard that he'll just end up getting solo killed, and then the whole game will like explode for his team. But it doesn't feel like he's actually worse. Like, up until this point, you're like, damn, bro. Into this version of Trist, the fact that Talia is laning well and like up CS is great, and then he just does this, where it's like, what the play is this, bro? Like, you realize that this play will just never work, because even if this was going to hit Frescowy, he would just flash forward. He could just flash over it and then just all in Humanoid with his Bork. He would just catch up to him, and then Humanoid's just dead. And then he's just like behind the whole game. And then Frescowy just is Frescowy, and he like does some random shit at the end and he fails to carry. He has like this death, which isn't good, where he's like flanking around the side. You have Frescowy flanking around the side. You have this play, jumps straight into the Gnar, gets mega narbed, fails his QSS, and like the game is kind of lost. But there's also like fights like this from Humanoid, like where is the one where I feel like he can just carry the whole game. It's the one where Frescowy flanked. This one. Like, I swear if Humanoid was better, he carries this fight, no? Watch this fight from Humanoid perspective. Like, Zanya's, okay. Like here, okay. Frescowy just suicided, no? Like, isn't this just Frescowy inting? This jump? Like, if Humanoid just Qs him, like he has his Q, he's on worked ground too. It's gonna be like the empowered Q. If he just doesn't flash here to try to kill Supa and Merwin, and he just focuses with his team, he plays with his team, can't he like borderline pentakill them here? Like, he tries to Q flash, he Q flashes towards Supa to try to kill him, who still has flash, where there's like a Tristana behind him, who I think if he just plays, kills the Tristana, he's playing with Razork, I'm pretty sure that they just win the fight 2v4. Like, this guy is so fucking dead, actually. There's all these moments from Humanoid that, like, seem just mega weird. Oh, it's so hard for me to rate Humanoid, man. I think he goes here, though. I do feel like he goes here. Carry over Mickey ain't no way. I think so, bro. I think Mickey X played really well in season finals, but there's a lot of games where Mickey, like, inted at the end, like, harder than anything Carry has ever done. Like, if you're actually evaluating all his games, just think about his lane phases that he was playing, like season finals. There's like these lane phases that Mickey plays where I feel like Carrier would literally never do this. Like, look at what Mickey's doing. Like, they're hitting level 2. He can see it. They're hitting level 2 off this minion. He just walks up. Like, Mickey X's floor is so much lower than Carrier's. And sometimes he giga smurfs, but I do think his floor is like absurdly low sometimes. Yeah, but he knew it was free win. Maybe. In game 3, he did the same thing. I mean, this time they're not hitting level 2, but he just walks up again. He just like plays it the same way again. So you should know you don't win at level 1 as Nautilus versus Leona, especially when you have cleanse and they have barrier. You're probably never winning. They have PTA, barrier, and you have fleet footwork, cleanse. And like, Ezreal is literally one of the strongest level 1 champs in the entire game. Like, and then we just die like this, super dry. Like, these are the mistakes that make me feel like it's very, very hard to rate him over Carrier, because I just don't think Carrier would ever do this, man. I really don't think Carrier would ever do this. I think Core over Mickey. I think Core had pretty bad meta read and didn't play that well in his finals either. I think Core is in general worse than Mickey. I don't think Core wins you games as hard as Mickey can win you games, because obviously the thing about Mickey is he has the absolute worst downside of like all the guys besides for maybe Jun here. Like, out of all these guys in the mix that are in this location, Mickey has the lowest floor, but Mickey also has games like game 3 Fnatic versus G2. He has games like this as well where he just wins you the entire game, right? Like, he just plays the whole map better than like anyone else. Like, watch the way he plays this, bro. So like, this play actually ends up being very good for them, by the way. This is very good. Like, Mickey dies here, but look at how he uses his tempo. So he died before Jun. He instantly goes towards the wave that's crashing, right? Because he knows that enemy support can be here. Makes this play. Obviously, it doesn't end up going perfectly. Like, it is what it is. But that's still going to be good for his top laner. I mean, essentially, his top laner just wants this wave to be crashed. So he's just trying to, like, be there first. They try to gank him. This is still completely fine. Still good. Should be a game-winning play, honestly. But look at Yikes W here. Like, he just misses the W. He should have W on 2. EQ. Like, this should be... People should be dead here. Like, this play is so good if Yike just hits his spells. Like, he W's over here to Narnia. So the W, I think, only hits Oscar, and then he E's the Leona, and then he misses his Q as well. So Yike just essentially missed all of his abilities. If Yike plays this well, they just have the brand passive spreading on everyone, and it's unfightable. But this is a very good play for Mickey. Like, even though Mickey ends up dying here, the idea of going top and pressuring on that wave, the fact that he uses tempo to get top first was good. And then Yike obviously does this as well. I mean, Yike I'm rating really low, by the way. I don't know. I just don't think Yike is actually good. I feel like he solo lost the Gwen games. I feel like these types of mistakes that he makes are not acceptable when you play with a worse team. And then right off this last death, right? So Mickey X is 0-2, but he's actually played well. Then he makes this play right after. So he goes mid. Gets caps ahead. Pushes out mid. He's just working, bro. He's putting in work. Then he's bought again off tempo. Like, look at how far ahead he is of Jun with his tempo. Like, how fucking clean is this guy? So this is the upside of Mickey. So what I'm trying to show you here is that Mickey has the highest ceiling out of all those players, but he also has like the lowest lows. That was the point of showing all this. We have Quid, we have APA, we have Faker, who's like in this tier. I mean, I don't think he's actually worse than those guys. Don't kill me yet. You have, who else? Who else would be in here? Xiaohu. Xiaohu is not great. I think Cream kind of played pretty bad towards the end. I would say that, Quad. I would say you probably have Quid. You know what's weird is like, bro, it is, I'm going to put Faker above these guys, but I actually think he played worse. But the way I'm kind of doing this is that I have like 80% of my tier list is like my evaluation of them, and then 20% is who I think is like the better player, right? Like that's how I'm doing my tier list. So I guess I would put Faker. I mean, I would say, Quad did play finals better than APA, but I do think APA was better throughout like everything else. I think I would just put all the NA mid laners together. APA, and then I would say, what? Faker, Xiaohu, and like Cream. Actually, bro, Showmaker, I don't know. I don't know how to rate Showmaker here. So who do we have left? We have Showmaker, we have Cream, we have Caps. I do think Caps is better than those guys. Caps, you have Scout. Actually, is there anyone else better than Caps? Is there anyone else that's better than Caps here? I don't think so. No. There's no one that's better than Caps. Caps is 4. Caps is 4. I might put Quad over APA. I think I'm going to put Quad over APA. I think APA did have some champion pool issues that were kind of exposed. Caps, then we have who? Like, we have Showmaker, Scout, and Cream. It's weird, bro. It's so hard to rate a player like Showmaker. Because Showmaker, I think, was worse than normal. Cream was worse than normal, too, though. I don't actually think Scout played that well. Bro, there's a pretty big gap here. Like, when I start doing the overalls, I think there'd be a pretty big gap here. Xiaohu over Faker hurts. Bro, you can say what you want about Xiaohu, but Faker played so much worse in lane than Xiaohu. Like, Xiaohu, once he got his shit together, like, once Weibo started doing well, Xiaohu was not doing the things that Faker was doing in lane, bro. Faker was just committing a war crime in the first 2 levels every single fucking lane, bro. Like, obviously not literally every single lane, but way more than you could even possibly conceive of. Like, it was just not reasonable the way he was losing his lanes. Why is Faker already, or why is Ayla already 70? Because he's the worst player. Dude, I think, bro, I might put Showmaker here. Okay, let's just fill it in, and I'll move them around. This is not the order. I'm just filling in everyone. Showmaker, Xiaohu, and Scout. Okay, so this is what you have. So let's move these. APA outlane Faker at EWC. Oh, absolutely. But I do think Faker started playing his lanes better as playoffs went on. If you want to be fair to Faker, his early season was super, super weak. Like, his fucking Corki Tristana laning pre-EWC and at EWC was fucking terrible, right? And then he did get better, but then he still had the Faker trade that was coming in later on. He wasn't dying, at least, you know? I think I'm going Showmaker. I do think Xiaohu played better than Sky. I'm going to just keep it like this, bro. I'm going to keep it like this. I do think there's a very big gap between Caps and Cream, though, with how Cream ended up playing later on. Let's go jungle. Let's go jungle. Let's go jungle. Jungle's going to be controversial, bro. It's going to be fucking controversial. All right, so who do I have as the worst jungler in this stage? Oh, it's going to be controversial. Okay, so who do you have as the worst jungler? Because I think Elyoya played a little bit better in season finals. He was playing really bad in most of summer. He played better in season finals. He was bad in summer playoffs as well. I think that because of that, he has to go last. I think he has to go last because of that. When we're talking about the next tier, we're talking about like Yike, River, Umpty. So I think River actually played better than Yike. I actually do think River played better than Yike. It's just that Yike has winning lanes all the time. Bro, I think Yike just goes here in my mind. Let me think. I mean, Umpty is also like not that good. I think that River is probably better than Umpty as well, to be honest. But I don't know. Umpty had some pretty fucking decent games. I think I'm going Yike, bro. I think I'm going Yike. It's so hard for me to rate Yike highly based off what I've seen. Then I'll say River, and then we'll do Umpty. Razork is better than these guys. I think Weiwei is pretty not good. Let's start at the top. Who's the best? Who's the best jungler going into Worlds? I still think it's Canyon, bro. I still actually just think it's Canyon. I think that people, there's games where like Canyon didn't play as well in finals overall as Peanut, but I will say that there was games, for example, game 5, I think that Canyon actually played well enough to win. I think that he actually clutched up and his team just didn't follow his clutch. Ooh. If I'm including that 20% bias, I do just think that the best junglers in the world are like Canyon and Wei. Like going into this tournament, I think Canyon and Wei will be the best junglers. And I think that it will be like Peanut, like even though Tien was the GOAT, I would have him lower. Like I still think Tarzan is better than Tien, even though Tien was the MVP. All right, if I'm adding personal bias on what I think like makes a good jungler, I'm gonna have Canyon, I'll have Wei, then I'll have Peanutsky, and then I will have Tarzan. I honestly think Tarzan is better than Peanut too, but you know, like we'll not be too biased with it. Honestly, I think Inspired is actually better than Tien, but it's like it's so hard to make that argument because he plays in North America. I mean, Inspired definitely played better than Owner. Inspired, who am I missing? Bro, this actually looks giga based to me. With how I view jungle, I think this is actually pretty fucking based. Razork way better than Owner? I don't actually think so. I think that Razork is better at early game. I think Razork actually plays his mid to late game pretty poorly. Isn't Tarzan a bit too high? No, I think Tarzan should actually be higher. Like if I were to really be like giga biased, I would probably have Tarzan here and Inspired like 4th, and then I would have Peanut Tien. All right, top lane. Bin number 1. Number 2. I hate to say it, bro, because I actually don't believe it's true. So like if you ask me, who do I think is the second best top laner in the entire world? I would say I think it is Zeus. But I don't think you can make an argument to put him here. So I think you have to say Keen. Like there's just you can't really make the argument against it. From the bottom, we have Sniper. Sniper's the worst. I think Merwin is second worst. I don't think that there's much you can say here. I think that he's very good sometimes on counter picks, but I also think he had counter pick games where he played like Nidalee, where he really put his team behind. He wasn't even winning lane versus Cassante as hard as he should be. And then I think that him on the standard like tank tops and things like this is just not good. So you have to draft for him, and he's not going to carry the game all the time. We have Oscar, we have Bwipo, we have BB, we have Impact. Oh, Breathe. I don't think Breathe is very good. I think he's better than Oscar. I would rather have Breathe than Oscar, and I'd rather have Breathe than Bwipo because he's more consistent. And this will be Oscar Bwipo. This is Oscar Bwipo. Not sure about order yet. I do think Bwipo is probably better, to be honest. I think that Oscar is more stable, but I do think that Bwipo, when he gets like, regardless of the game state, he does have pressure in the game almost all the time, where there's definitely games where Oscar just does nothing, where he's just like AFK. Keen, who is the third best top laner in the world? I'm not putting, I honestly think it's Zeus, bro. I think Zeus is actually insane. Like he's the reason that I feel like T1 is scary. When you think of T1 right now, with Owner kind of doing whatever, Faker being like extremely mediocre, Keria being like sometimes really relevant, sometimes he does nothing, Guma having to play in Ziggs, MF, like all these champions where he can't really be himself. Like the person that makes T1 scary is Zeus. You're just worried about like the Aatrox counter picks of the Yone. You're just worried about this type of shit. His 80 tops, like you just think that is why he's scary. I'm gonna go Zeus over 369. Bro, 369 played better than Zeus. But I think Zeus is better than 369. I think Zeus is better than 369. I just do. And when they played against each other in big moments recently, I think Zeus has had the upper hand. So I'm going Zeus, then 369. Now, where do we have Doran? God, there's a big drop-off here, bro. There's a big drop-off. Because we have Doran, we have Kingen. Kingen is giga overrated. He really played poorly in playoffs. I think that there's some things that make Kingen good. The fact that he can pick out like a good GP in certain angles. He has the ability to play Aatrox in good angles. I think that type of stuff is fine. I think he makes a lot of like really int plays at the same time when he's playing other more stable things, but I guess that's kind of like Dom1 as a whole. Zika actually played pretty well. I'm putting Zika here. I think Zika was very good. Like he was speaking Giga Mandarin, bro. When he was playing Renekton, he was Giga Mandarin. Like he had the Rise pick coming in. That's going to be useful at this Worlds. I'm putting Zika here. I think he deserves it. Then I'll put Doran. I like Doran. He's good, but he's very scary, bro. He's good, but he is very scary to have on your team. I would probably rather have Oscar than Bwipo, but I think Bwipo is better. I think Bwipo does understand. He understands how to like always have pressure in the game. I think that is very useful. Impact. Then who do we have left? We have BB Kingen. Honestly, is BB not just better than Doran, bro? Is BB not just better than Doran? Like, I think fucking Doran, like, dude, BB is better. BB is better than fucking Doran, bro. I don't care. I don't care. He's better than Doran. Is that what we're working with, bro? Is this what we're working with? I think this is what we're working with, bro. I think this is what we're working with. Impact greater than Doran. Ooh, impact greater than Doran. Impact has the Jax pick. He 2v1's way better than these guys. Bro, impact could go up. I'm down to move impact up, but it feels really wrong having... Okay, if I put king in at 9th and I move impact up 2 slots, that actually... that tracks. That tracks 100%. That actually is fine. I think that's fine. I do think impact is way more consistent than these guys. Like, he understands how to 2v1 better. I think he team fights better than Doran a lot of the time. Doran is like giga AFK in some team fights. Doran's Jax is very good, surprisingly. And he gets through lanes probably better than Impact would, but Impact also has a good Jax. I think this tracks. I think that's completely fine. All right, let's start rating. Let's start rating everyone, bro. Ayla, worst player. Delete his name. Now we have... Who am I looking at here? Sniper, Frescowy, Moham. These are the names. Sniper, Frescowy, Moham. I'm gonna go Frescowy. I don't think Frescowy is good, bro. Moham is bad. Is it Sniper, bro? Bro, Moham is fucking bad. Nah, Moham is worse than Frescowy. Moham's worse than Frescowy. Frescowy. Sniper. Start at the top. Let's get some names going here. Chovy. I've already thought about this. Knight, Bin, Zika. Now we have Tomo versus Alvaro and Elyoya. Tomo for sure. In second. Knight was too insane, bro. Like, if you look at Bin, like, I also believe Bin is insane, but, like, do you remember how his finals looked? Like, his finals was very, like, a 0-2 Renekton win into, like, a 1-5-6 Renekton win. And then Knight is putting in a fucking shift, by the way. Knight is putting in a fucking shift during these games. Like, he is the fucking star of that team. Like, look at the shift that Knight put in recently, bro. Like, look at this. Look at all these. A 21-0, an 8-1. This Corki was insane. Insane gameplay on the Corki. Like, the final team fight in this top esports series put him in the fucking dirt. Like, Knight has been so good, bro. He's been so good. People just underrate Knight. Okay, fair. I'm just telling you, bro. Like Knight is... He got beat. He was worse than Chovy at MSI, for sure. But I do think that the way that people perceived him... Like, there were games where he's trying to force the way his team played. And I think that in those games, he looked a lot worse than he actually is. Like, for example, this Vex game, where he's like 1-6. I mean, he's just perma-roaming, and the plays that should work out didn't work out, and then he's just playing Vex from behind in a pro game versus a player like Chovy. And I think Chovy was playing Corki in this one. And then Chovy just completely smurfs on the Corki. It's like, okay, bro, he tried to do something and failed. So people have this perception that he's like giga bad compared to Chovy. But I think that he is actually the second best player in the world. And he's just willing to throw himself under the bus in order to try to win a game. And I really like that quality. Also, meta, I think, will be good for him. Syndra's coming back, right? That is a Knight champion through and through. Syndra coming back. Ari got buffed. This is another Knight champion through and through. Like, these fucking picks being in the game opens up so much. And if the 80s are nerfed and Talia becomes prio again, this is something, once again, that he is super fucking good at. So, like, I don't know, bro. The only champion that I think that Knight is really bad at right now is Azir. And I don't know if you're going to need to play it. I mean, it did get nerfed before this. So, anyways, I've got this. Who do I have? All right, let's start going from the bottom here. Okay, so our names right now are Merwin, Elyoya, Supa, and Alvaro. I think it's Merwin. I think it is Merwin. I do like what Merwin gives to Mad Lions. Like, the fact that he's very important to the team. I think I rate Supa. You know what, guys? Supa. So 3 out of the best 4 players are mid laners? I think so. And I think that this is generally how League of Legends works. I think that normally, like, mid lane players are just the best players in League of Legends. Like, the amount of game understanding you have to play mid, the amount of versatility, the side lane understanding, the mechanics, like, mid lane is just the best. Like, it is the hardest role to play, and in competitive, it's where the best players can play. That's just how it is. That's kind of how it always was. I think that's how it always will be, bro. It's just, you got to be able to do so much to be a mid laner. Zika over Viper is a little cap, but I expect it. I just don't know why people think that Zika has not been better than Viper. Like, I don't know. I feel like people are just saying it because Viper has been better than Zika for, like, their careers before this. But I don't see why, when people watch Hanwha Life, why they think Viper is, like, more of a force in the games than Zika. Because I think Zika is, like, I don't know, I think he's fucking insane. I just think he's the best player on the team. I feel like he's the reason why they win. And it's like the meta I don't think is super good for Viper as well. I think Viper is like fine at Ziggs, like his Ziggs, MF. I think he's fine at these champions. I just don't think he's like super special. Viper's the better player overall. I mean, like right now, you think he's the better player, or like what does the overall mean? Bro, I feel like Zika was just crazy, bro. Viper 5th? Yeah, I'll have Viper 5th. Viper 5th. The thing is, when I look at like these players, I actually don't think junglers, like I don't think there's any jungler that looked giga insane to me. I'll have Canyon over Keen, but I'm gonna take his support here. I think I just put On Delight right next to each other. I think both of them were extremely good, bro. Now is where I probably take the jungler. That's where I take the Canyon pick. We have probably a decent gap until lands. All right, let's keep on going from the bottom. We're trying to just like, we'll go from both sides, and then we'll just see whichever seems easier to place, and then we'll swap. You just had a better playoffs? I mean, playoffs is what matters the most, but then also I think Zika was extremely good in regular season. I do think Viper has become like kind of overrated. I'm like the biggest Viper fanboy, but I do think that he has become like overrated by the community. Pretty much every time that Hanwha Life would lose, people always make it seem like Viper is just getting super inted and he's playing perfectly. And there's just like some games where that just doesn't happen. And I feel like with Zika, he's playing at such a high level so consistently. I mean, I think that he's probably just the best player in playoffs now. I do think that Chovy's body of work this entire year, I do think that Chovy is just the absolute best player in the world. And I don't think that it was Chovy's fault for losing a lot of those games, like the Smolder game, game 1. I don't think it was Chovy's fault. I think that my criticism of Chovy was that he stuck too closely to the Corki and he wasn't willing to like take the risky pick that's going to win the game. Where I feel like Zika does have that quality where he's willing to take the risk in order to win. Whereas Chovy is just like, I'm going to beat you by being better than you. I'm the best Corki in the world. I will keep on locking Corki. Even if he feels like it's not really working in the series, he sticks too hard to his guns and he's not willing to branch out. Like when you think about Zika, his Worlds in 2022, the one that he won, where he was the best player at Worlds, right? And you think about like what he was playing in game 5, a lot of people forget it wasn't just him playing Silas Akali every single fucking game. Like people realized at a point, okay, you can't give him Silas Akali all the time. So in game 5, he goes to the Azir and he outplays Faker. He plays a significantly better game than Faker while playing Azir into Victor, which was not something that people expected. Like people didn't rate Zika on champions like Azir, and he clutched up and he played a great Azir game in game 5. One of the main reasons they won that series. That shows me something, bro. That shows me something about the player. Shout on Scout on Orianna too. I mean, he has a bigger champion pool than people give him credit for. Now, the thing that I would be kind of skeptical about Zika on is some of the picks that he hasn't played too much of. Like, okay, I think of Syndra, right? If Syndra actually does become S tier Giga OP, he has what, 3 competitive games of Syndra in his entire history, whereas like if Syndra becomes OP and there is more Orianna play, maybe he falls off a bit in relation to Knight, Chovy, some of these other guys. It's hard to know what the meta is going to be exactly though. This is who we have: Merwin, Elyoya, Humanoid, Alvaro. I think it's just Merwin. Bro. Big upside, big downside, but that's where we have. Okay. Alvaro, Oscar, Elyoya, Humanoid, Noah. That's tough. Like Alvaro versus Oscar is kind of tough. I don't think Noah is actually worse than these guys. I think that he chokes. It's unfortunate, but I mean, even in season final, like I feel like his main choke was just in summer finals. No, like he choked hard in summer finals, but when it came to season finals, he played fine. He played pretty well throughout season finals. Like Jun was definitely worse than him in season finals. I think we're gonna start we're gonna put a lot of supports here, most likely, because once we break this barrier and we start comparing like Busio to Quid, Humanoid, Yike, like I think that he's cooked. I think Hong is down there. I mean, I do kind of rate supports as just the worst players in league overall. In competitive league, I think the worst players in the entire game play support. Just is what it is. I mean, it's very hard because I do think Elyoya is a good player, but he played really fucking bad in summer. It was just season finals where he looked like himself again. Just don't want to like. I mean, it's like we're having the whole fucking Mad Lions team in a row. I mean, but they are objectively a bottom 2 team here, right? They are just objectively a bottom 2 team out of all the teams that we have here. So I guess all of their players being towards like in the bottom 10 shouldn't be that surprising. Elyoya is better than Oscar. I just don't think he's like showed it. I do actually think that, like, if I were to think about both players like as individuals, like who would I rather have on my team? If I had every other position equal and I was like, I just needed like every position was equal skill level, and I'm like, who would I rather have? I would take Elyoya over Oscar. But I think that Oscar was better than Elyoya over the course of the split, year, you know, etc. Yike Humanoid Oscar. I think Oscar is the worst out of these guys. Then we have Alvaro. Yeah, then we just have Alvaro. Yike Humanoid Noah Busio. I mean, if you consider like everything, choking problems, all this, I'm going to put Noah here. Now you have Masu, Busio, Bwipo, Yike, Humanoid. Well, I definitely think Busio and Bwipo are worse than Masu overall. I think Busio goes here. Then you have Hong, Masu, Humanoid, Yike, Bwipo. It's Hong for me, bro. Now you have Jun, Masu, Humanoid, Yike, Bwipo. Dude, it's so hard to rate some of these players because it's like, sure, Bwipo runs it down sometimes, but like Yike runs it down and then still gets to win because he's on G2. You know, like there's so many games that Yike played bad. Yike did not have many good early. I mean, he solo lost like 2 Gwen games, but his team is just better. Is Yike better than Jun? Yeah, he probably is. He probably is better than Jun. Jun is clean. Jun is so overrated. I swear Jun is so overrated. I do think Jun is mega overrated. But I mean, Yike played worse. Yike played worse, bro. It is what it is. Now we have Bwipo, River, Humanoid, Masu, Jun. I think it's Jun. All right. Bwipo, River, Humanoid, Crisp. I think this is where we throw Bwipo in. I think this is the Bwipo angle. The Bwipo angle. Now we have Breathe, River, Humanoid, Masu, Crisp. This one's pretty hard. Breathe did step it up in playoffs. Crisp was not the best. River is pretty fucking good. He played really bad at Last Worlds, though. Let's do River. Oh, I put my last name. Nice. I'm so used to typing it. I put Rivera. Okay. Breathe, Umpty, Humanoid, Masu, Crisp. I think I'm going Umpty here. Breathe, Weiwei, Humanoid, Masu, Crisp. That's Humanoid. It's becoming a little bit easier for me to like see the differences in players. Then I'll put Breathe. And Weiwei, Quid, Masu, Crisp. Feels like it's Masu now. Quid. Sorry, let's see. Is it easier to go from the top now? We have Keen, Wei, Caps, Elk, Lehens. I think that's just Elk to me. How do I rate these next guys? Light, Keen, Wei, Caps, Lehens. Lehens is not in the conversation for being better. Who's better out of Light, Wei, Keen, Caps? Caps did have like a bit of a slump. I feel like it's Keen. There are some things I don't like about Keen, but he has been very good. There are some things that I don't like about Keen. And I do think he played worse than he normally did in finals. But that's fine. He had some fucking random ass deaths too. Okay, Wei. Okay, who's better? Zeus, Wei, Caps, Light, Lehens. Bro, do I have just BLG players like super highly rated? No, I don't think I'll have Wei up here. Okay, what order would I rank these players? If I were to rank these players, I mean, everyone thinks it's Zeus. Everyone thinks it's Zeus, but like, can you actually make an argument that Zeus has been better than Light? Like, hasn't Light, like, what do people want Light to do? Fuck, why did I just get Light and I got some Korean named Light? Why would that be over the Chinese player that has literally hundreds of games? Bro, it's so weird because like now that I'm doing this list, I'm starting to want to put Peanut above Wei. But I don't actually think he's better than Wei. But it's like, I kind of want to throw Peanut in above Wei. Zeus is the best out of these guys, bro. I mean, I don't know. Zeus is just the best player on his team. I know Guma looks fucking crazy good sometimes. I think Zeus is just the best player on the team. I mean, he just makes T1 scary. Like when you look at T1, the reason why you're always like afraid of them is because of fucking Zeus. It just is what it is. Let's change these. I want to put Peanut right here. Then I want to put Caps. Then I want to put Light. Cream is like way lower than a lot of these guys. Probably Wei. Actually, yeah, it's probably Wei here. Probably Wei. 369. Tarzan has been insane, but he like kind of fell off it a bit. Honestly, I could put Tarzan above 369. I can put Tarzan above 369. Actually, I'll put Tarzan above 369. I think he was more of a... I mean, the thing is, it's like, do I actually think top esports is this shit? Because I have no one from top esports in my top, like, 20. Am I going to have no one from top esports in my top fucking 20? I think I'm putting Mako above Lehens. I think that's what I need to do. Hold on. I do actually, I think I actually just believe that as well. I'm going to have to rearrange. Because there's going to be some, like, when I look at it, it's like, you know, Caps, Light, Wei, Tarzan, whatever. We're going to do this, and then we're going to start going into it and fixing, like, where I think things actually belong. I also had 369 here, right? Like, 369 needs to be put in... Do I actually want Wei above Tarzan? I think I do. I think he is actually better than Tarzan. He's better than Tarzan, but his laners are so much better that he's allowed to be better than Tarzan, you know? Pays over Guma. This is kind of looking weird to me now. Like, Pays over Guma is kind of looking weird. He was better than Guma, no? Yeah, I think I'm moving Wei down again. I think I'm moving Wei down twice. Pays. Now we have Guma, Lehens, Cream, Tien, Zika. I think it's Gotian. Then to me, it's Guma. Then it's Lehens. Then it's Jackie Love. Then it's Inspired for me. And then Aiming. How does that look? So that would mean my top 25 is Chovy, Knight, Bin, Zika, Viper, On Delight, Canyon, Elk, Keen, Zeus, Peanut, Caps, Light, Tarzan, Way, 369, into Mako, then Pays, Kian, Guma, Lahens, Jackie Love, Inspired, Aiming. Bro, that looks fucking good to me, bro. Like, I really with that, actually. Inspired top 25? Yeah, I think so, bro. I think so. What do people want Inspired to do? Like, I mean, he carried his fucking team to a championship. He was the main player. Like, even if you feel the amount of, like, if you watch the games and you see the amount of resistance that Inspired creates within the game by his decision making, even in the series that they lost, which is arguably more impressive to me than the series they won versus TL, like, he is fucking good, bro. This guy is fucking good. Top 25, 2 Western players. Yep. I think that's par for the course, bro. How many Western players do people normally have in their top 25? Like two sounds good. Missed aiming at 15. Oh, okay. That's why people were saying aiming at 15. Because people are just calling him a file. I was wondering, I'm like, why do people want me to, like, you think aiming is that good, guys? And then I just realized that everyone in the chat is just calling him a fucking file. Well played. All right. Carrier, Gala, Lucid, Cream, Zika. It's Carrier. Aiming greater than Jackie Love and Guma? I don't think so, bro. I don't think so. I think aiming was better than both of those guys in the meta where, like, when Ezreal was getting giga picked every single time, I think then he was better. I think when it was like Ezreal Kai'Sa meta, for sure he's better. Zeri as an AD carry, he's for sure better. When you have Ashe, MF, Jhin, like, all these picks are being played, I don't think aiming is that good. I don't think he's as good as those guys on those picks. I don't think he understands, like, he doesn't know how to team fight. I feels like a lot of times when he is not, like, the star DPSer of the team fight, when he needs to like just channel an ulti, or when he needs to just set other people up, I feel like he struggles. All right, Mickey X is just here, no? Mickey X is here. Now we have Core JJ, Gala, Cream, Lucid, Zika. Carry over Mickey X, ain't no way. So I already did the carry versus Mickey X. So the reasoning for this is just Mickey X had way lower floor than Carrier. And I think that Mickey X's highs are higher than Carrier's as well. But Carrier also has pretty high highs. Like, so pretty much Carrier is like, he goes from like being like a 9 out of 10 to like doing nothing and being like a 4 out of 10. Whereas like Mickey goes from fucking being a 0 out of 10 to like a 10 out of 10. Like, he'll into game harder than you could possibly ever into game. And then he'll also just be the fucking GOAT and be like the best support he'll be the best player in a game randomly, you know? And I think that just the average level of performance you get from Carrier is higher than Mickey X's. Even though I think that Mickey X is like, Mickey X can play better than Carrier. If Carrier and Mickey X are both playing at their peak right now in a game, I would say that Mickey X will play better. Depends on like what type of peak we're talking about. Obviously, if we're talking about 80 carry support meta, then Carrier is obviously like the best. He's fucking top 5 player in the entire world. But in the metas that we've been in and what it looks like, what we're going to play in, Rel being picked all the time, like Rel, Leona, like these types of picks, I think Carrier pretty much has to rely on like getting like good Poppy picks, good Bard picks, things like this, to be super effective. And then he'll not be as good as Mickey X will be when Mickey X plays standard engage. Mickey X is also just better at standard engage than Carrier, but also Mickey X will just completely like run you down. 6 supports, top 27 can't be right. I mean, sure, you could maybe argue that like the supports are too high, but I actually think that there's a lot of like pretty decent supports. I just think that number one, that's not like that crazy, because I think there's going to be a fall off for a bit here. But I just think that there's like there's a lot of players that I don't think are that special here, right? Like when you're thinking about these supports, Carrier, Mickey X, right? Like these would be people that maybe we take out. I don't think that there's an argument to put Lahens, Mako, On Delight, right? Those 4. I don't think you can say that those guys are not top 25 players in the world. Those guys are just fucking insane, right? They're on average, they're fucking insane. And then when you look at Carrier, Mickey X, like who you're comparing them to, it's like Gala, who did not have a good season, Cream, Zhao, which like was just like kind of whatever. Then you have like Lucid, who's kind of whatever, Zika, like BB, Impact. Like, these types of players I don't think are better than Carrier and Mickey X are for their teams. I just think that there's like a big disparity between supports. Wait, Cream is worse than Mickey X. I think Cream kind of fell off at the end of the split. I think he was one of the main reasons they didn't end up winning. I think that he stuck to a meta that wasn't working for him for far too long, and I think it ended up hurting them. I think that most people realized that Zeri was no longer good as a mid laner, and Cream just like stuck to the Tristana Zeri because he did have this insane win rate on Tristana before, and it just didn't work out, bro. Like, he needed to be willing to break this and pull out some of the champions that he's known for being good at when the time came for it. Like, I would like to see him play some fucking Yone. Maybe it was banned every single game. I don't remember exactly. Was it banned every single game? No, I mean, Yone's up in these games. Yeah, so Yone's up in these games. I think that he needed to break the fucking meta and play some more of that type of stuff instead of just sticking to the Tristana and Zeri every single game. Kingin, Weiwei, APA, Yeon, Crisp. It's just looking like Weiwei to me. Kingin, Razork, APA, Yeon, Crisp. Just Kingin. No? I think it's just Kingin. Doran, Razork, APA, Yeon, Crisp. Looks like Crisp. Doran, Razork, APA, Yeon. I think I'll go Yeon here. Doran, Razork, APA, Hans, Core JJ, Core Jaja. Core Jaja is better than these guys. Maybe Hans could be better than Core JJ though. I think we're gonna end up with some mid laners now. Probably just APA, right? Doran, Razork, Quad, Hans, Core Jaja, bro. I think it's just Quad, bro. I think it's just Quad. Doran, Razork, Faker, Hans, Core Jaja. I think Hans and Core JJ are just not really in this conversation. Just Faker, bro. It's just Faker, no? I mean, look. Faker did clutch up some games. Razork is not that good mid to late game, I think. I think it's just Faker, bro. I think it's just Faker. He had too many really bad games, bro. Now I'm deciding between Doran and Razork. I'm just deciding between Doran and Razork here. I think Razork's mid to late game. He does have some issues there. I'm going Razork. Then I'm going Doran. Then I'm going Owner. Razork greater than Faker? I think so, yeah. I think so. I think Razork greater than Faker. I think he was the best jungler in EU. Like, he's the best jungler in EU, and I think Faker is the worst mid laner going from Korea. I think there's a chance that Showmaker just plays like complete fucking ass, though. Honestly, I'm putting Doran above Owner. I'm gonna leave Doran here for a sec. Dude, Owner, like, I'm a fucking Owner fanboy. I actually think he's really fucking good. He played pretty bad, bro. He played pretty fucking bad. Like, he got gapped so hard by Peanut. It was disgusting. It was hard to watch. Like, multiple. He got gapped by him both times. Doran is legit mid-50s at best. I feel like people just don't, like, for some reason, people don't remember the games where Doran plays well. They only remember the games where he plays bad. Nah, bro. Nah. People are way too biased. People are way too biased. Like, Doran was not that bad. He was not that bad. He had some, like, really disgusting games. But he was not that bad. He was ending in playoffs, but he'll randomly play well at Worlds because Jarvan will be meta. Sure. I mean, maybe he plays better. Like, I could see Faker playing better. I could see all of T1 playing better, to be honest. I don't think it's that hard for a team like T1 to play better than they did. They were probably playing at their worst form that they've played in like clutch moments almost ever. I could see them playing better. Okay, Doran, Lucid, Showmaker, Hans, Core JJ. Let's go Lucid, then Doran. Now we have Showmaker, Impact, Hans, BB. Core JJ. I do think Showmaker is better than these players. But honestly, maybe Showmaker is better than this. Showmaker has this like one issue. It's so hard to rate Showmaker because it's easy to remember like the good moments he had, but he has like really, really, really bad games where he will just AFK and he will do nothing and he won't farm side and he'll just end up really far behind. And it's like so hard to think that that's the same Showmaker that used to be literally like the best player in the world for a period or like one of the best players in the world for a period. It's very hard, bro. It's very difficult. I think we'll go Impact here. No. Impact was better than Core JJ. Core JJ, like they both kind of played worse in playoffs, but Impact was legit the MVP, bro. Okay, we're going from the top. We have Zika, Cream, Gala. Probably Gala. Bro, I have so many 80 carries rated highly. I do think 80 carry is a pretty good role, though, overall. I don't think there's many bad 80 carries. Well, you have like Supa and Tomo. Like Noah is not even that bad. Cream, Hans, Xiaohu, Zika. Zika has been so underrated, bro. I think Zika is actually pretty good. Zika has been giga underrated. Actually, I kind of want to go Hans than Zika. Hans is playing, literally, I respect Hans more now than I did when he was playing Kalista Draven and he was just stomping lane every time. I actually respect him a lot more now. I think he plays better now than he did before. Xiaohu, last four. Scout, Broken Blade, Impact, Showmaker. I mean, it's just Scout, Showmaker. Is this what I want to do? Showmaker deserves to be lower, bro. He just deserves to be lower. It's actually true. He just deserves to be lower. Okay. Is this where we're ending on? All right. 1 to 70. Okay. Top 25, I really think is like, I don't have any real gripes with. Okay. So Chovy, Knight, Bin, Zika, Viper on the Light Canyon, Elk, Keen, Zeus, Peanut, Caps, Light, Tarzan, Way, 369, Mako, Pays, Tian, Guma Lahens, Jackie Love inspired aiming. What the fuck? Ayla is too high, bro. I put him 70. Where the fuck? do you want me to put him, bro? Is Zika really better than Broken Blade? I think so. I think Zika's laning is a lot better. Guy's like unsung hero of his team. All right, this is what we got, bro. This is where we ended up in our player tier list for Worlds. We ranked every single player. Maybe there's some that if I did more thinking, I'd be able to move them around a bit. But this is where I ended up in my top 70 overall players at Worlds.